Lily's Cupcakery and hi from Germany. Bagheera63 asked me to bake a Frankfurter Kranz for you, and that's what I'm gonna do today. Now some of you might know what a Frankfurter Kranz is. For the ones who don't know what it is, it's a Bundt cake and it has a white dough which is a little spongy, and then we have layers. Onto the layers goes raspberry jelly or whatever jelly you prefer, and then we have a buttercream with vanilla pudding that goes also onto the layers and around the cake, and then you put Haselnuss Krokant around it. That's like a hazelnut crunch or just regular hazelnuts, and little cherries on top. We'll start with the dough, and with the ingredients you'll need egg whites, cold water and sugar, egg yolks, starch, flour and baking powder. And I'm going to put down all the ingredients and the measurements down in my description so you have it in cups and in grams, and I will also put the measurements of my baking pan down there. Okay, so we'll start mixing now. We start with the egg whites. They go into a large bowl, and now you mix in the cold water and you start beating. Now once it's light and fluffy, which goes really fast, you drizzle in the sugar. Now you could stop here and you'd have meringue, but of course we're going to continue with our egg yolks. The dry ingredients. Here I'm asking you not to use an electric mixer afterwards, but a spatula, and then just lightly combine the dry ingredients with the egg mixture. Of the Frankfurter Kranz reminds me a little of angel's food. Now take your Bundt cake pan, and now here I'm really asking you to butter and flour the hell out of that baking pan, because you really want to make sure it comes out nicely and that it looks like the form and that it doesn't break. While the cake is in the oven is the pudding. Now I'm just going to make a really normal pudding that comes from a package. I mean, you can do it from scratch, but who does that? And in case you don't know what to use, I will put down also some information down in my description concerning the pudding. You can also buy a pudding that is already a pudding. You don't have to make it yourself. That you let the pudding cool off completely before it becomes part of the buttercream. Look at this beautiful cake. Now we have to let it cool completely, and then we can cut it into the layers. Now here I have my butter in a bigger bowl, and here is my cooled off vanilla pudding. What I want you to do now with the butter is beat it until it is light and fluffy and turns white. That's what I always call whitening the butter. Right, and now in goes some of the pudding. Don't take everything at a time, but step by step. And I first combine it with my spatula, and then at the end maybe Mix it again. Now you don't want to overbeat because otherwise it turns flaky. So once you have everything combined, you just continue with your spatula. Alright, and that is our frosting for the Frankfurter Kranz. Now we take our cake and try to get it out of the pan safely. Now don't think I am out of my mind, but I always do that to loosen the cake a little so that it comes out. So let's see and hope. Keep your fingers crossed. Thank you. That looks beautiful. I'm really happy. Okay, so now we have to cut it into 3 layers. Layers now, and now here I have some raspberry jelly. That goes on to the lowest layer first, then comes some of the buttercream. Layer, raspberry, buttercream, last layer. Here you can really take whatever flavor you like. The traditional is with a red jelly, and also I'm a big raspberry fan. I meant to tell you, when the cake finishes baking, don't take it out of the oven immediately, but turn off the oven, open the door, and just let it sit like that for 5 minutes. That way it doesn't collapse because it's really fluffy, as I said, almost like an angel's food cake. And then you take it out completely. Covered in frosting. Don't worry if it doesn't look so nice because we're going to put the nuts around it anyway in a minute. But now talking about nuts. So the original Frankfurter Kranz has, as I said, this hazelnut crunch, this haselnuss Krokant around it. I find that too sweet, I have to say. I don't like chewing on it. That's why I take chopped almonds and now I'm just going to roast them a little bit so they become darker and get this flavor of being roasted. And here you have to be very careful that you don't burn them because that goes really fast. Now we can start covering our cake with the toasted almonds or hazelnut. So now that the cake is covered in nuts, I start filling a pipe with my frosting to finish the decorating. And now comes the final step, the cherries. Now here's my beautiful Frankfurter Kranz, at least I think it's beautiful. And if you like this video and you're gonna make this cake at home, I want you to take a picture of it, use the hashtag LilliesCupcakery and let me see it on Facebook, Instagram, or wherever. And if there's more that you would like me to bake, just comment down below. Now I see you again in 2 weeks for the next German cake. Now don't forget to subscribe. See you then.